Hello and welcome. This is my video where I'll be talking about the textures on my final piece for Unit 13. I decided to record myself talking about it instead of typing it out just to try something new. I obviously did the whole development log for the modeling and unwrapping of my final piece. So now I'm just going to go through and talk about how I've textured it in Substance Painter, what I like about the textures, and how I think it's turned out. It's just stuff like that. So I'll start with the building itself, just kind of the skeleton of it. So what I wanted from this was a sandstone looking texture. So really all I had to do was have a fill layer, obviously for kind of like a really bright yellow, close to white but not really, and then add some dirt to it, which just kind of adds the wear to it. And then that was just it, basically. That kind of gave it that sandstone look, and it in my opinion it looks good with the sand of the ground, which we'll see soon. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. It looks really cool. Once the whole building's together and textured, you'll see that it just kind of works along with every other texture. Nothing clashes, and it's just amazing how easy it was to texture, really. So the next thing I'll look at is my door frame, which is here. So this is obviously wood. There's nothing really else to say about it, but as you can see here, I kind of just, what I did is I used the wood fibers from the Smart Materials, and I basically just edited it to my own color. I added dirt. So the only real thing I used from this was the fibers. Sorry about that. Was the fibers, just to kind of complete the wood look, and I think it complements the final piece well, the building well. So the window frame is exactly the same texture, same shade, same wood, as is the roof. Let me just find it. Yep, as is the roof. So the roof is basically, well, yeah, it's exactly the same as well. I wanted them all to be the same because I wanted a bit of like kind of continuity in a way, so that just to show that I guess whoever made the house used the same wood to put it together with the roof, the door frame, and the window frame. I also wanted it to be a lighter wood compared to some of the other wooden textures I've made in this project, well, in this texturing, just so it would fit better with the lighter sandstone color of the building, and I think it does well. I'm really happy with it. So let's move on to the metal bars on the window. So this was really easy to do, actually. I'll just get to the layers. So basically all I needed to do was add this metal edge to a fill layer that was kind of like in the color of basically just metal, average metal, maybe like titanium or something, I don't know. But yeah, it was just a fill layer, and then the metal edge, which adds the scratches as well, and then that was basically complete. It's got a nice little shine to it. There we go. Very nice, very beautiful. Obviously it doesn't really clash with anything, kind of fits the building, looks like it's part of it, so that's really what I was aiming for. So the next thing is the door. The door is very much similar to the wood here, but it's just a different shade of wood, and it has different kind of features to it. It's got sharpen to it, it's got levels of diffuse, base colors, etc, etc, and obviously it's darker, and I wanted it to be darker so that it wouldn't like kind of blend in with the door frame, if that makes sense. Wanted it to kind of be a bit darker because otherwise it would kind of clash with the door frame. It'd just be a bit weird for it to be the same wood. Just in my opinion, I think it looks nicer being a bit different. So the next thing is the chimney. So the chimney is basically very similar to the metal bars. All I really had to do was add a fill layer. This time I made the metal black because I feel like that just kind of suits a chimney, and well, a metal chimney at least. And when it goes into the building, I can just like kind of imagine it having or connecting to like a dark metal boiler or furnace or something, which is quite common in Western themed things, especially inside buildings. So yeah, all I had to do was add grunge scratches to this one to just complete that kind of worn metal look that I wanted from it. Still shiny though, looks really nice, and goes well with the rest of the building. So I was really happy with the result of the whole building in itself. I think it looks really cool, and I think the textures all work together well. And although they're quite realistic textures, they still kind of suit the more stylized design of the actual model, which is what I was kind of aiming for. So that's quite nice that at least I think I succeeded in that. So I guess the next thing we'll look at is the floor. So the floor was also very similar to the building texturing, but a little bit more in detail, because I wanted to try and make it look like sand. I'm not sure if I've succeeded, or if it kind of looks a bit too much like sandstone, but it looks like worn down, kind of like sand, kind of just used over time, I guess. Yeah, so it's basically just using dirt and just kind of fill layers, more dirt, more masks, just to kind of create a very worn ground look. Hopefully I was able to succeed in making it look like sand. I think it looks kind of like sand, but yeah, that was probably one of the most difficult ones to create because of how much I had to just kind of play around with the different layers and just the different colors and stuff, just trying to make sure it doesn't clash with the building. And I think I've done a good job here. I'm really happy with it. Goes well with the building. Obviously the building I wanted to be a different kind of shade. This is a bit darker, the floor's a bit darker. So yeah, really happy with that. So let's move on to the fence, which is, it's very easy to do because what I wanted for the scene is to kind of have similar, like I said earlier, some continuity in it. So like similar wood has been used for building the different assets. So I had the same wood as for the roof, the roof, window frame, door frame. So yeah, that's the same wood there in the middle. These two, I guess you could call them wooden bars or wooden posts. These are definitely wooden posts and the same texture as the door. I wanted them to be a bit darker because I didn't want the same texture just all throughout the fence, otherwise it would just be kind of a bit bland. wouldn't really stand out too much. So I wanted it to kind of just, I guess, look a bit more diverse and just a bit nicer. So that was the best way of doing it, giving it two different wooden textures, and I think it's worked out well. I think they both work together well as seen on the building, so that was another big reason why I used those textures again. So let's move on to the hitching rail. So I think it's the same wood as the door, however, new metal. So what I did is I first added the wood to the door, to the hitching posts, sorry, and then I added a black mask, well, a black mask to it, added the wood, and then obviously the metal with a black mask as well, and then I added the rope texture, because these are all on the same UV map, as you can see here, so none of it's separate. So yeah, that's the way I had to do that. Really happy with the metal. I wanted it to be kind of less of a shiny metal and more of just like a solid one that's kind of able to hold, I guess, a horse from stopping it from running away. So yeah, it looks really nice. It's a bit brighter than this one, a little bit less shiny than this metal, and yeah, that's really what I was aiming for. And then obviously the rope was quite easy to do. It was just kind of playing around with different patterns, and I used some fabric patterns from a Smart Material, and then I also used like dirt fibers and stuff, just to finish it off, and hopefully I made it look like rope. I think it looks like rope. Hopefully you agree with me too. Yeah, so far it looks really cool. Been really happy with the outcome of the texturing. Nothing really clashes. I like the kind of continuity I have with the wood, kind of the same stuff being used. So I didn't really want too many different woods, otherwise it'd be quite, confusing in a way, as why is there so many different woods, different kinds of wood, sorry. I've said wood a lot in this video. That's something you can take away from this. So let's move on to the final piece, the final piece of the final piece of the texturing. It's the outhouse. Let's look at the frame. So this is the same texture as the posts and the door. I think I made it slightly darker, just to kind of make it stand. As you see, yeah, it's slightly darker than the posts, just to kind of make it pop a bit more. Obviously, for the doors, I think these are. Oh yeah, no, this is for the door. Yep, same texture for this part, which is just like a black mask, and then I added the same textures as these for the walls. And although they are the same textures, they don't really blend too much. They don't, what's the right word for it? But in a way, they don't really kind of mix together. You can still see what's what, you know. You can just, and then the walls are the same. I'm gonna have to get rid of the door for this one. The toilet seat, it's the same. Doesn't really need anything special. It's going to be hidden away by the door like this. It's just there to kind of for people to look into and see. Oh, yep, there is a toilet seat in there. People can go to the loo. So yeah, that's my whole scene textured. I'm really happy with it. I've definitely improved my skills with Substance Painter. I've learned a lot more about kind of making my own materials and making my own textures, while still using parts of others, but heavily editing them, because that's what we had to do. We couldn't just straight up copy them and just put them on our models like the last two projects, which I have done. and I feel like now that I've been making my own textures, um, I've actually been enjoying this software a bit more, because like I'm doing new stuff. For the last project, I kind of just used the same textures as in the first project in a way, like, and just the pre-made wooden smart materials and stuff. So it was just kind of like, is this all I can get from this? But no, I've made my own textures for this, and I couldn't be happy with the outcome of the whole final piece. So yeah, that's my final piece, textured. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I don't know if enjoy is the right word, but hopefully this video is good enough for my development log. And yeah, thank you for watching.